What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to do another magic deck. I wanted to show you guys. Get the light a little better. Anyways, when I first started playing Magic years ago, I was introduced to the game with this type of deck because it's the easiest one to learn how to play when you're first starting out. So it's called a burn deck, right? So the majority of the cards in the deck are geared towards just direct damage. The whole point of the game is to get your opponent's life from 20 to 0 as quickly as possible. So with the burn deck, it takes all the strategy out of it, and you don't have to think a whole lot about how you do it. You know, you can just take the cards you have in your deck or in your hand and pretty much cast them on the person and drop their life total from 20 to 0 as quick as possible, right? So this is one of the burn decks that I built a few years ago. Actually, it's probably when I gotten back into Magic, this is the first deck that I built. So this one probably 15 years ago I got back into Magic from when I'd sold out before, and this is that deck. So I want to show you what's in it and what the whole idea is behind it when it comes to the cards. So here we go. So this one, Incinerate, pretty good because this card is 2 mana, one red or 1 mountain and 1 colorless, and you can target a creature and it cannot be regenerated. So that's what makes Incinerate good. You know, you can get rid of those little pesky regenerate creatures and you don't have to worry about them coming back at you. So right. This one, it's not direct damage in particular, but it is a creature, right? It's a spark elemental, and basically it has trample haste, but you gotta bury it at the end of the turn. So this guy here, he pretty much is one mana, 3 damage. You know, so it's like a lightning bolt, but on a creature. Pretty good card. This is a Skizzik. It's a morph creature. Now, or excuse me, not a morph creature, but a kicker creature. So you can actually leave this guy out and play if you pay at the kicker cost. So instead of being 4 mana, it costs 5. So you pay that kicker cost and you can leave him in play. But pretty much 5 damage for 4 mana. It's kind of the same as the Spark Elemental, but just bigger damage. These are actually really good, called Kindles, right? So this one is, it doesn't do big damage right off, but as you play more of them, they do big damage, as you can see when you play this card out and use it as against an opponent or a creature. The next one you play of the same type adds 1 damage to it. So you could actually do 2 damage with this one, and then 3 with the second one, 4 with the third one, and then 5 with the 5th one. So basically, once you get them all out, or excuse me, the 4th one, 5 with the 4th one. So once you get them all out, you're going to end up doing 5 damage for 2 mana. I know it takes a while to get through your deck, but that's what happens. Here we go. Is the baby bolt, what they call this one. It's a shock. That's 1 mana, 2 damage. Yeah. So most of these cards are all instants that I have in here, so you can play them just about any time during the game, during anyone's turn, except for the creatures. Obviously, you got to play those during your turn. But I got Mountain, and then here's that lightning bolt. This one is pretty much a staple for all burn decks. Basically, it's 1 mana for 3 damage, and you just can't get any better than this. I mean, they're really, really good, and it's why it makes it a 5-star card. Now these are, as far as I know, maybe they're extended. I think they're all back in Legacy now. You can only play them in Legacy, but I have to check that one for sure. I'm not 100% on it. Still a very good card. Another Kindle. Fireblast. This is from Visions. Great card. This one here is I know the casting cost you're looking at like, wow, 6 mana. That's a lot. Well, as part of the casting cost, you can sacrifice 2 mountains and pay the casting cost with that, and then deal 4 damage to target creature player. So it's really good to pair it up with a card called Fork. I'll show you what that is. Or like an end of game like killer. You know, you can do it like that. So if somebody had, say they had 8 life left, and you knew that they were tapped out, had no way of countering a spell, you could throw this out there, sacrifice your 2 mountains, use the mana on them, and then use your fork, and there's your 8 damage. So it's like, you know, point of no return type thing. Pretty good card. Another Bolt. Spark Elemental, another Incinerate. This is probably my favorite from Mirage. I like this artwork on Incinerate. And then Shivan Dragon. This guy really, I don't know why he's in here. Maybe because I just like him. He's cool. I mean, he really, the whole point of a burn deck is to kill the person quickly. And this guy here, there's no way around it. You have to use 6 mana to get him out, unless you have an extra mana producer. So if you're at 6 mana by the time that you can cast this, then chances are you're probably going to lose a burn deck. So this guy is really doesn't need to be in this deck, but I like him, so I'll put him in here. There's that fork I was telling you about. Now, fork basically copies a spell, and you can target it to another target, or you can target it back at the same person, same target. So like, say like I was telling you, this Fireblast, right? So this is a good combination. So basically what you do is you have your 2 mana, right? Like this. Your 2 mana, and you have these cards in your hand, okay? Person's at 8 life. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap these, and then now they're in my mana pool, sack them, so I'm gonna throw them in my graveyard to pay for the Fireblast. And I use the 2 mana to fork it, so that makes 8 damage, right like that. So it's a good combination to throw on somebody. And another shock there, Spark Elemental, Kindle, Skizzik. Here's that morph guy I was the guy I confused with earlier. But the morph guy, basically when you play these out, you can put them down for their morph cost, which is or excuse me, you lay them face down, like you pay 3 and lay it face down, okay, and then so 3 colorless, and then you pay the morph cost, which is 2 mountains, and then you can bring them into play, or you can pay the whole entire amount right there. So really with these guys, I mean, you can use them as like a sneak attack kind of thing if you need to block for some reason. I mean, that's really not what it's for, but I guess you're saving yourself having to use another mountain, so you only required to use 2 if you morph it instead of 3 if you just play it in your hand. But morph guy, they're okay, but I wouldn't use this guy in morph. I would just throw him out for 4 and attack with him. Now this one's, I know this is Japanese, kind of hard to read, but it's a pretty cool card. Let me see if I can find one here that's not Japanese. I think I have one. Okay, here we go. So this one's called Urzas Rage. I know it costs a lot. It costs a lot to do the kicker, right? It's 3 to cast it, right? And this card cannot be counterspelled. So basically what it is well, you can just read it there. It does 3 damage to target creature or player, and if you pay the kicker cost instead of Urzas Rage, deals 10 damage to the creature or player, and it can't be prevented. So another one, you know, if you had something like Mana Flare or just a really big amount of mana in your mana pool, then this would be a legit card to throw out for 10 damage. However, it's really not something that you could do with a straight up one-on-one game with somebody. It just isn't going to work. So it's still good for the 3 damage because it can't be countered. That makes it worth it in itself. So 3 damage can't be countered. That's pretty good. So another Fireblast, another fork, more Firecats, and then we got Thundermare. Thundermare is cool because you can play him out, and he is also has haste, and it taps all other creatures. So you really don't want to have any of your other creatures out when you play this guy, which, I mean, the only one we really would have out would be probably the Skizzik if we pay the kicker, or the Shivan Dragon if we got him out. But this one is, you know, it comes into play all the other creatures tap. So basically, when he comes into play and your opponent is over there, he's not going to have anything to block with because his creature's all tap. Unless he has something that untap his creatures. But he's pretty cool. Another Fireblast. And then we got a Lightning Bolt. Spark Elemental. Oh, and then this one, probably one of my favorite haste cards in the whole game, is the Ball Lightning. It's kind of like the Blistering Firecat, you know, but it's instead of it having morph and cost 4, this one is 3 mountains and it's 6/1. So pretty good card. There's actually a first turn kill with this card, but it costs a lot. It doesn't cost a lot really. It doesn't cost a lot to play it. It costs a lot to have it, to own it, because it's like Mox Ruby, Mox Emerald, and Berserk, and a few other cards. They're just really expensive to own. So, but anyways, this is a staple for pretty much any burn deck. It's very, very good, and it doesn't take much to get it out, and it does a lot of damage. Now, if you look at all these one cards here, they all have trample, right? So that deck mechanic is, or game mechanic is, let's say you have a creature out there that's a, say it's a 5/5, right? Say it's this, you have this creature out, right? And it's on your side. I'll play out Ball Lightning and I attack you with it. Well, whenever you block it, 1 damage, because you have 5/5 and you have 6. So that means this guy can take 5 damage and this guy does 6. So whatever is left over hits the opponent. So instead of you blocking all 6 of this, you'll just block 5 of it, and then your opponent will take 1. So that's how trample works. Pretty cool little feature in the game. Another Incinerate, Shock. Wheel of Fortune, pretty much a staple for any burn deck as well, because you can run your cards out of your hand pretty much completely down to nothing, and then just have just this in your hand, and then you can draw 7 cards. So now you got 7 more burn cards. You know, it's really good, really, really good, valuable card to have in the burn deck. Another Ball Lightning, Kindle, another Firecats, Shock, Urzas Rage, Ball Lightning, other Cats, Incinerate. Soul Ring is just, you know, that one's a pretty much a staple in any deck, period, because it's one colorless and you can add 2 mana to your mana pool. Now, granted, they're not a specific type of land other than colorless, so you can't use it to cast a required casting cost of, say, Ball Lightning 3 mountains. It has to be that colorless that's on the card. So, but still, really good. I mean, first turn, you're going to have 1 land in your hand, and you can cast this out, and then next turn you got 3 land that you can use for something, possibly 4 if you have another land drop. So, on the second turn, you could have 4 land, and you could be playing out possibly that. If you had, actually no, you wouldn't be able to play that because you don't have a third mountain. But you could play like 2 Incinerates, right? Or you could play the Skizziks and just sacrifice them afterwards if you had this guy in play. 2 more lands, then we got another Fireblast, and finally Ball Lightning. This guy here is from the Dark. This is originally the original set that Ball Lightning came from, and it is absolutely beautiful. A lot of times, trying to find this card in good condition, particularly the one from Dark, is very difficult because they played people that played Magic back then. They played this to death. I mean, this one and Maze of Ith is another one that's just really hard to find in very good condition. So if you look at this one, it doesn't have a lot of played corners on it and stuff like that. So this one's actually in really good condition. And that's it. So that's what we got for our burn deck. So what we'll do is we'll put it back together, we'll mana step it, and then we'll do a play test and see how it does. So Magic has always been one of my favorite non-playable or non-sports card games. I've always enjoyed playing this game. It's hard to find players these days though, because I just don't know a lot of people around here that play this yet, but when you find a good group and they know what they're doing, it can be very fun and very entertaining game to play. You know, some of these guys that are really, really good, they go on to the world championships and different countries and everything and win big money for actually winning the contest. So if you ever decided to get into Magic or you really are interested in it, please just give me a message on this video and I can talk with you and let you know exactly what you need to get started. But I haven't really gotten into a lot of the newer things. I'm really like an old timer when it comes to Magic. I like the old stuff, so, which is kind of unfortunate in a way because it's very expensive. Some of these old cards are very, very expensive. I mean, you look at these dual lands they have out in Revised. Now, dual lands and Revised were the last set of cards they actually put dual lands in, you know, without drawbacks. And they're anywhere from, I don't know, probably 150, 200 bucks for the cheapest, and then probably the most expensive around $800, something like that. And that's just Revised, so you can just imagine what some of those earlier editions like Unlimited or Alpha Beta, what those are worth. Yeah. You know, I know some people too, when they see Magic, they think, oh wow, Magic is, it's a nerd's game, you know, who plays that? Well, you know, a lot of people play it, and those people that say that people that are nerds that play it, you know, they just got nothing else better to do than call you a nerd. So, but that's okay. If they're gonna call you a nerd, just own it. That's what I do. I own it. I'm a huge nerd, so. Alright, let's check this out now. Make sure we got a good shuffle on it. And see how we do. Alright. Here's our opponent. He's going to have 20 life. And remember, our goal is to take him from 20 to 0 in as few turns as possible. Alright? I'll put another die up here to show the turn we're on, so that we can keep track and see how fast we can take them down. So, draw out 7 cards. I know some of you probably are wondering too, like, why I have these different backs on here. Don't worry, I have the same amount of blacks this color and black backs for this color that I have for the whole deck. So half of them are this shade of black and the other half are this shade of black. So it's not like I'm trying to cheat or anything, but some people might not like that. Alright, we're going here. Okay, so here's our hand. This is what we got. Alright, so first turn. Get a land, and we got a shock. So there's 2. Alright, so that's turn 2. Second turn, we're going to draw. We got another land drop. Alright. And now we have Incinerate. Actually, what we'll do is we'll play the Kindle instead. Play the Kindle first because we want to get that out of our hand just in case we draw another one. So there's 2 more. So that's 16. Alright, turn 3. Draw and tap. We're going to play this guy out. Ball Lightning. So he just remember he comes into play, attacks, and then he dies instantly after turn. So now he's at 10. So that's 6 damage. Okay. Alright, now we're at turn 4. We have Incinerate and Shock. It's 5 damage. And then turn 5. Draw for 1 card here. We're going to play our Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Actually, what we'll do is we'll play this first like this. We'll play that out first. then play our Wheel of Fortune, because this guy, we don't want to lose him. So now we have Wheel of Fortune. So now we have no cards in the hand. So we discard our hand, which we have none. And we'll draw 7 new cards. Okay, and then we haven't done a land drop this turn, so I'll play one more land. And then we have another Spark Elemental. And then we'll kill them. They're dead. 6 damage. Okay, so 5 turns. 5 turns to take a person down from 20 to 0 with this burn deck. It's not too bad. It's not very good, but it's okay, you know. And this isn't one you'd want to play in like a group setting, because it's just not going to stand up to, you know, playing against 3 other people. You want to play this just one-on-one. But still fun little burn deck, and something easy to learn to start out if you're new at Magic. So anyways, appreciate you guys checking this out. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.